Welcome to this last video in this series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. Now, before I get into talking about the game and why I want to stop this series and start a new series, I do want to emphasize, guys, it's not anything to do with that I don't like the game. In fact, I've probably played more hours on this game than any other game that I've bought new, which I've never played before. I think I've got nearly 70 hours on this game in both on camera and off camera play, where I've been doing various bits and pieces, and I've really enjoyed making the series. But what's happened is that because this was my first series, and a lot of the things I've done in this series I've done for the first time on camera, and an example here is the wood forestry construction here, and over, and more importantly, if I come over here, because it's a good example, just wish there was a mini map, is the construction. I mean, this is the first series where I've done really serious construction, where I've built out areas like this, and I'm going to confess, guys, I'm really hooked on the idea of construction. And what I would like to do in the next series is literally build everything from the ground up, because I think there's a sense of satisfaction of building things rather than just kind of going like this and saying, yeah, I want to build this, right? We're going to fund that. Oops, no, we can't fund it from dollars. We're just going to fund it from rubles. I mean, this is great if you're building it, but I don't know. It just doesn't kind of work for me now in the context of this game, because you're almost missing out on this completely big element of the game, which is constructing everything from the ground up. So that's what I want to do in the next series. But in this video, what I want to do is talk about the things I've done wrong, things that aren't as good as they should be, and some of the pitfalls with this game in the context of when you're actually building things. So I might as well start over here. When I laid this town out, I thought I'd really cracked it, because I'd got everything down in this area here, and I got the shop and the food store, the kindergarten, the school, we built a cinema, we got a hospital, and I thought it was really good. But upon reflection, while it was reasonable, but it wasn't brilliant, because I made a couple of mistakes. One, I put the bus station too far out, away from the main concentration, and I think that's made people who want to come down from areas that don't have a hospital reluctant to visit. So I think this should have been more compact and more focused. And I mean, to give you an example of what is probably a better layout, whoops, I'm still trying to get the hang of this old right click drag. I mean, this is a better example of how to lay out a settlement, especially driving a single big industry like the oil here. See, this is starting to work, and what we've got is we've got the main worker area for a factory, because you've got to remember is that to kit this up to absolute maximum, I've got to have 1,500 workers here, so this is a very big area. And then what I've got servicing this area is the kindergarten and the school. You can see the school's working very well, but we're still not getting enough people here. So really, I probably need another school here. And of course, that also means educated people. And then we got the sports here. So the sports here is working quite well. And then what we actually have then is a commercial area here with the large shopping mall, cinema, hospital, because we've got a fire station here. And what we got here is more residences, but these people are servicing the commercial area, and these up here are servicing the school and the kindergarten, but also driving this oil refinery. I think this is a better way to lay things out, because what you could do is, like I did here, is I built the radio station and come here. And I think when you're running construction, having this type of layout means that you can send workers into here to drive your construction bases as well. Now, an alternative way is what I tried up here, and this didn't work quite so well, where you were using buses to bring people down from this coal mining village up here down here to the hospital. And I think it works, but you end up with a tangle of bus stops here. And again, I've never really understood the bus stops here, because I built one bus stop here, where truthfully I should have had two bus stops. I should have had one for people coming down into this settlement to visit this area, and then I should have had another bus stop for people who are going out to work, because this area here, which this settlement is meant to support, it hasn't really worked very well, to be honest, guys. The people from here are not moving down to here. I think that's partly because of my bad layout. I put in some really big blocks. And again, I think this is something else I've noticed, that if you put in really large blocks like this, they never seem to build up population-wise very quickly, where the smaller blocks seem to grow and fill up a bit quicker. So I don't know if there's a mechanic where if you've got a half-empty block, people don't socialize and produce children. That's probably the polite way of saying it. Where if you've got a small block like this, it's almost like people socialize within their own block. I mean, I can't prove that as a mechanic, but I do feel that way. And again, just as an example, guys, if I come down here, you'll see that the populations, well, that one's not quite so good, but generally the populations in this area are starting to hold up and grow, compared to if I come back over this way. I've since the very beginning when I've laid this out, I've never got, very few of these blocks have ever got to maxed out. And you can see this example here, this one's driving the food factory and the distillery, and it's back down to 27 people. The problem is, if you pull people from other blocks, what happens is that population reduces. So you can see here, so I've got these great big blocks here, but I just can't keep the population up. And I think that is one of the keys to keeping your population stable. I mean, I could keep banging in lots and lots of recruiting people, but the problem is if you keep recruiting people in, so let's just find an empty block down here. So you've got 72. So if you recruit people in, you can see you bring this in, but what actually happens is every time you recruit people in, you drop the happiness. And so therefore it becomes a bit of a self-defeating cycle. Besides that, it's expensive. So you're far better off having homegrown people when you're actually building this up here. Now, another example of where I got things wrong is that I've got a power station here driven by these blocks. I've also got a technical university here and a brickworks here. And so I've got too many industries clustered around in this area. And again, one of the hazards of having big blocks is that, and what happens is I've got 74 people trying to service 4 different sources of work. And to be honest, I don't think that really works. I don't know if the mechanic is not particularly that efficient. What you can get is, especially with football grounds, you get this situation where you've got people in here. Oops, that prefab's empty. But you don't get anyone in here. Then what happens is you don't get anyone providing sport. Then these people complain that they can't get any sport. You can see there I've got 17 citizens who don't like support, who can't access sport, and then you get into a destructive cycle. You can see I've got lots of people around here, but out of 3 sports facilities, only one's got anyone in. You'll probably find if I come up here, you've got someone there. And this is the type of mistake that I've made. See, there's nobody in that one, there's nobody in that one, there's probably nobody in this one as well. Yeah, so although I've got and this is one of the way the game can confuse you or deceive you, that you can look at this and you say, well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sports facilities here. I shouldn't have any problem with sport, but you can see here I've got problems with sport all round. So it's far better to have the smaller buildings. Just drag back to here, guys. Sorry, I keep flashing across the map. It's far better to have this arrangement where you've got smaller blocks of, say, up to 75 to 100 people, and these people can concentrate. So like here, I've got the fire station and 2 sports grounds, and so you have 1 primary source and 2 minor sources. Now, just as an example, to keep the fire station at maximum capacity, I would need at least more, well, say 75 more people, because the game operates a 3-shift system, and the people only work for 8 hours in every 24. So to get this to work properly, what you've got to have is enough people to do the rotating shift system. And it's not 3 separate distinct shifts. People go in there, they work in a building for 8 hours, then they leave and then spend 16 hours on leisure time. So if we can find someone in here, you can actually get a breakdown of what they're doing here. So this person's got 5 hours of leisure time there. And then if you click in here, you can see this person is working shift no hour. Okay, so this person has just finished. what you can see here. So they're working a shift at the hospital and they've got 5 hours left to go. But you can see that, then I mean, they're fairly happy, but of course they can't pray because they've got no churches. So this is the mechanic that's kind of frustrated me most with this playthrough. But then I was learning, and that is something that's quite important, something to recognize that I was learning this process. Again, an example of a failure here. This area, I built it to drive this construction site here, which has been successful. You can see we've got plenty of people in here. We're working the train, but you can see that we've actually run out of prefab panels because, probably the truth be known, yeah, there's very few people working here. I've got a shortage of prefab panels here. Looks also like I've got a bit of a blockage here as well. I don't know why you're delivering bricks to here, because you don't need bricks. So let me just sort this out. And again, this is an example of the mechanics that can cause a problem. And what we're going to have to do is go back to here and you just unload the bricks. This is how you solve the problem with the trucks. You tell them to take the bricks back, and then what he will do is take those bricks back, unload, and then load up the prefabs. So he should, where's the brick guy? And these are the mechanics that can prove very, very interesting. So he will unload the bricks and then he will pick up some prefab panels. And this now leads me on to the next thing, which is all these vehicles, because you've got this vehicle log, but it's positively scary, guys. I mean, you can find the bulldozers and all the buses. And again, I've made some mistakes with laying out my trucks. In fact, I've lost trucks and I've done all sorts of things. Like the supply chain down here has been pretty erratic. And to be honest, trying to sort out all these trucks would be a very tedious process. And I'm hoping that eventually the devs will provide us with a better interface to get that sorted out. And again, I don't really want to spend the time in this series trying to sort out all the problems with the trucks. I'd rather start again, start fresh, get a few things up and working. And, well, then we'll learn a whole new set of lessons. I've been building a road across here as well, just to put a connection through there, because this is the road where I was pushing out to the steelworks. Now, this comes into the next thing, which is the costs and how quickly they can spiral. And why you need to think about when you're building up and you want to expand is the actual overall cost. So if I come in here and show you this, you can see the delivery per ton is 54.9 rubles. And if bear in mind, if you, especially with any goods, especially the cheaper goods, I mean, you've got to remember is that some of this stuff is very cheap. But if you've got massive delivery charges on top, that can make your costs spiral out of control very quickly. And what I want to do now is give you an example of that, how it works. So if we come back over here, because I built this rail track through, and what I've had to do is save up the money to get a train. And what we're going to do is, because one of the big costs is actually steel, so we're going to get electric locomotive. So what we got here, you do 110, you do. Well, I think the maximum on my track is, I don't know, I suppose we could get this. Let's go for the expensive train. You can see I spent 600,000 on that. And what I want to do is bring in steel. What we're going to do is get 3 trucks. I don't like to have long trains, so that's going to be right there. And what we're going to do is we're going to send it up to here, into here. And then, of course, what we're going to have to do is drag all the way over to here. Because what I want to do is bring steel into this area. And then what we're going to do is tell it to load steel. And I'm going to put 50% of the load on, and for a reason which I will explain in a little while. Then we'll tell it to unload steel there. I'm just going to kick off that. And now I've got to race back over this way. Get there before that train gets there. Because what I'm going to have to do now is auto purchase steel. Now here the cost per delivery is only 1.79 rubles. What we're going to do is we're going to purchase some steel. Get that done very quickly. And now watch my money when this happens. So now bear in mind this train can carry 207 tons of steel, but I've set it at 49% at the moment just to try and save my cash. As you can see, just setting that one train off has cost me nearly 1 million rubles. And what I'm going to do is we'll see if we can just pause the train, and what we can do is just follow the train through. Now this can save me money, but bearing in mind that if you're going to run a diesel train, you will have the cost of the diesel as well. This is part of the balance of how you've got to calculate the game, because say for example you are importing fuel to a petrol station and you are using trucks to do this distance, you've got to balance the cost of the delivery against the cost of the fuel you're building. So this is very much part of how this game becoming self-sufficient is quite important for this game. And what you'll see is we're now going to come up this line here past the road that I'm supposed to be building, and we've got lots and lots of signals here. I mean, there's just so much to this game. I mean, it's absolutely, and the amazing thing is the overall process is quite simple. And of course I've actually filled this up here. Oh no, he can go off again. Of course next time back he will probably fill up. We're going to bust that in there, but what I'm going to do is just carry on talking, guys. Keep an eye on that total and see what happens when that train goes back and starts to load again. And I will know, because that will crash. And bear in mind I've got a pretty healthy economy at the moment. Well, look at 800,000. I made 287,000 rubles in the last month. So if we showed you the profit margin, you can see how things are going and how money was building up, and then how quickly it all disappears. And this is why you need to think very carefully about your supply chains, how you're going to get things done. Again, that's another reason why I want to start a game, and really so that I can really think things through, build some efficient cities and get things done. So just gonna let that money build up. And another big cost with steel is laying out these rail tracks. So if I was going to run a rail track through here, and this is where you've got a contradiction in terms, because if you are trying to connect something up to be able to get access to things, and then you've got to buy steel, then that's got a cost. You can see my income's coming down here, but we actually got, no, that's a fuel train. Where's my other train? Are you still loading up over here? Nope, you've picked up. So we got this steel train coming in here. So we didn't go completely bankrupt, but we're still knocking along the bottom. But hopefully the train will then come into here and stand. And then that raises another dilemma, that if I've got a train parked here, bear in mind I paid nearly 600,000 rubles for it, do I really want the train sat here doing nothing? Or should that train be off doing something else? But he can't unload here because of the nature of the fact that he's got stuff in the truck here. Because what will happen if you watch, this train will come in, he should probably unload because this is nearly full. We'll just watch it unload. Will he unload completely? Yep. So he can't unload completely. I've told him to wait. So now I've got a train worth 600,000 rubles sat here doing nothing because not enough's been drawn out of this warehouse to make things. But got a truck coming in here. Why aren't you picking anything up? Open storage. So why aren't you waiting? Where are you going? So you're unloading there. So where are you coming from? So this guy's coming up here and he's doing a lot of distance. This is one of the problems with the game, that what you're having is these trucks running around, and trying to sort out which ones where you've made mistakes can be quite difficult sometimes, spotting them. And now I've got to try and find him. One of these. Let's just, there. See, it says wait here and then unload there. So you're okay. What have we got here? Who are you? You're moving aggregate storage from. I still can't find the truck. Why are you shipping bricks that way? Yeah, obviously he's full up with bricks and boards, and he's just running backwards and forwards because he's got a full load of bricks, and he probably can't drop them off down here. That's the problem, because this is full up. So yeah, 100%. And again, this is one of the mechanics that can really fry your brains, guys, if you're trying to do things. Yeah, we've got some. Anyway, guys, I don't want to get into too much of this detail because, as I say, this is the last part in the series. But I mean, to be honest, this is both the fascination and frustration with this game. But it's simple on the surface: just build buildings, connect them up, send out workers. But the depth underneath and the interactions and mechanics are very, very intriguing. Right, guys, this is where I'm going to wind the video up. Hopefully I haven't come across as being too negative about the game mechanics, because most of the problems with this Let's Play are of my own fault, my own lack of knowledge about how the game works, and of course my own poor planning. And I want to emphasize, guys, that I do really enjoy playing this game. I really like the micromanagement aspect, but I just feel that I want to start a game with a better challenge. Actually, I really like the construction element of the game. So the next playthrough will be probably trying to build everything from scratch. I've got no idea how we're going to do it, and of course we're going to be playing on the hardest difficulty as well, so things could go wrong very, very quickly. But on that note, guys, this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.